Hey, hello everyone. I've got with me today Eden, and today we're going to be working together. I'm going to be creating an inkblot. We're going to be talking about my Kickstarter project, Animal in You, and Eden's going to be dispelling some of her wise wisdom about animal archetypes and psychoanalysis, right?
Yes.
So Eden, would you like to give a little introduction to yourself?
Sure. Thanks, Jessica. So I am a person-centered psychotherapist, but I have a master's degree in art psychotherapy, which is informed in Jungian practice. Yeah. So that's kind of my title, but I have a lot of interests in other really interesting mystical and spiritual practices such as yoga and animal totems and shamanism and all these kind of things. So we'll kind of layer a few of those in, which is why I'm so interested in your Animal in You project, because it has to do with the unconscious mind and maybe a more raw animal spirit within you. And I think it's a very rich and dynamic and fascinating project. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm really excited to kind of see what comes out of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an inkblot and I'm going to do it live. So it's not pre-made. So I haven't had time to really kind of think about it. And then once I've done that, I guess I'm going to kind of look at the inkblot and we can look at it together. And then I'm going to tell Eden what I see. And then she's going to maybe tell me a little bit about what that says about me. And yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah. It's exciting. I'm so excited. Yeah. So the whole kind of point is, I suppose people sometimes say, okay, what is art psychotherapy, or what's the point of art therapy? So what in a Jungian term, it's called active imagination, which means you're actively working on something, but you're not using like your thinking mind, you're using more of like your unconscious process. So when you look at your inkblot you've just made, you're engaging the unconscious process. It's not something that is a narrative to you. You're not repeating information that you've learned from outside of you. It's going within you to explore a little bit more of a raw process, or more of a true self process, or the soul image. Yeah, that's what Jung called the inkblots, the soul image, which I thought was really fascinating.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And yeah, I'm really excited to see what other people make of the inkblots as well. So in this project, basically, I'll be making the inkblots, and then I'll be asking the viewer to tell me what they see. And then through that interpretation, and obviously a bit of my own as well, I'll be developing that inkblot with oil paint. So it starts off just on a blank piece of canvas like this. So I'm going to go ahead and create the inkblot. Got my paint here. Can you hear that? All right. So I don't really think, when I put that first layer on, I'm not really thinking about anything really, because there's no controlling it. You can't, there's just no way to control how the ink is going to flow or how the paint is going to flow. And also when you're pushing on the canvas to kind of create the ink blot, again, like you can't control how the ink is moving or how the paint is moving, which parts are combining with what. So it's always really exciting and thrilling. So right now I've just kind of squished it down. So the thrilling part is that first instance of like opening it up. Okay, and this one's it's quite spotty, this one, because I've used kind of lots of different.
Ooh.
So usually I would create a 3-layered ink blot. So this would be the first layer, and then I'd go a little bit lighter and then a little bit lighter. Well, the first thing that actually struck me, it looked a bit like a 4-eyed opossum.
Oh.
So that's quite interesting. I've never seen an opossum before. Yeah, so like I was saying, I usually see animals. What's going on? Let me just put it down for a second so I can have a look. Okay. Yeah, it's quite tricky doing it on the spot actually, because sometimes, like I said, it takes a little while. So I can kind of tell you, I see the possum there. Its kind of snout, but also see a kind of figure there with really, really long legs. Kind of reminds me of Alice in Wonderland a little bit.
Oh, nice.
Little bat at the top.
Oh, yeah.
Also, what I might do is sometimes I turn them around. So now when I turn it around, I see a kind of horned kind of owl over there. Yeah, or like a weird kind of goblin creature with the two ears there.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know, there's a kind of like weird, I don't know if it's because someone else that I've made one for saw a spine in theirs. That kind of reminds me of a kind of, I don't know, there's something quite bony about that. It almost looks like a totem pole actually when you go close up. You'll see it looks like a little totem pole. Yeah, I mean there's so much, I could go on and on. Those look like little hummingbirds drinking from a flower. Those look like do you know what a tardigrade is?
No.
It's like a monkey.
Yes.
They look like little bears, and they've got those little. They're really, really tiny, but you can see them. You can collect samples, in like rivers and lakes and things, and you can actually see them with a normal microscope. It looks like a winged, like there's little wings, and it looks like a winged little tardigrade. I don't know. That's just
cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, there's a lot to work with there. What you've seen. What is, I think, interesting, and we haven't touched on this, though it's quite obvious and evident, but the duality of it and the fact that it's two sides. And what's interesting is I didn't even think of it before, but not only that, you had your the two sides, the duality of what happens when you open it, but then you turned it around, so then you have a double duality, if there is such a thing, which is interesting, right? So that's interesting. Like your reverse, like reverse psychology, or I'm just kidding.
Like an alternative kind of reality.
Yeah.
Into the mirror.
Right. So, but I really like, I love working with inkblots. I went through kind of my own inkblot series for a while when I was craving balance.
Really?
And I didn't even realize, I just kind of started, everything I did was off of an inkblot. And it was because really, I was at a time in my life where I really needed balance. And I didn't realize that until halfway through. I created 6 of them, and I'm like, oh, I'm doing this because I need balance. And
so interesting.
Unbalanced. And it was just so visually, it was grounding, because we take so much in through our eyes, that it was, I needed that kind of visual to help me feel settled, and so even if I didn't really make any marks after the inkblot, that I would just kind of sit and ponder the inkblot, and it was
just as a process. And I think, that's interesting that you said that. I didn't know that actually, that you did a little inkblot series. But I think when I started doing it, really creating these paintings, it was during a really kind of, hectic time, lots of kind of stresses and emotional traumas and things happening. So just the act of kind of making them was so therapeutic, it's repetitive, but each time it's different. It's the same movement, but the image is different every time. And to me, that's just like magic, it's like absolute magic, because you don't know what it's going to look like, It's not like painting where you know, I don't like to plan my paintings anyway, but some people, well, sometimes I do, you know, you plan it out, you work out your composition, you know, whereas with the ink blots, you just kind of fold it and boom, there's your composition. And they don't always look nice. Sometimes they're kind of, you know, a bit messy and a bit kind of, you know, but most of the time there's something so pure about them. Yeah, I like it.
I think it's amazing because so many things just kind of, you know, kind of come out unconsciously. You know, it's like even it keeps evolving or telling you something. Like the image, it actually is like telling you, oh, look at me, look what I am, or ooh, look at, you know. And so, yeah, should we explore a little bit about a few of the things you kind of brought up? Or
yes,
I'm going to rely on my good old animal speak, because I don't know everything about animal totems and spirit animals and animal muses. But so I'm really, you can notice my accent is from the Americas. I'm into you know, the traditional people, Native American Indians, and their kind of spiritual connection to the land and animals and higher powers and mystic and magical kind of realms that are, you know, nature born. And so I work with Ted Andrews, who is passed, but he also was a Jungian. Go figure, there's a pattern here. I really appreciate his work. And he did a lot of work with animal rescue. And from that, and working with a lot of animal rescue with a lot of different organizations in the States, all these animals would come to him and he would notice like things that were really, you know, synergistic when a certain animal would show up and how he was feeling and what he was processing. And so he's like, they are telling me something, these animals, whether they come to me in dreams or visions or actually physically coming to me, they're trying to tell me something, or they're trying to communicate with me, or trying to give me insight or awareness into something else that I'm trying to work with. So I just really want to quickly read from his other book. He's also got another book called Animal Wise, The Spirit Language of Science of Nature. And it says that there is an unconscious recognition that animals reflect archetypal forces within the world, reminding us of primal sources to which we all came, from where we all came, right? Mm-hmm. We all need that right now, right? To remember that we're part of the natural world. I think that's really important for our own healing and healing of the planet. Yes. And animals are part of the initiation process leading individuals in and out of the wilderness of life. Mm-hmm. Animal totems and guides assist us in breaking down barriers and opening up to the new.
Awesome.
Carl Jung tells us that animals are representatives of the unconscious, and all animals belong to Mother Earth, part of the spiritual quest to reestablish ties to the Great Mother, which may be lost or forgotten within our current modern lives.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah. Important. Yeah. So I think that's kind of, important words to hear. For myself, I resonate with that. But so I think that's kind of cool. So interesting. I want to see what possum means, because it's the first thing that you wrote about. Yeah. And what's interesting is I really love opossums. It was so cool that you called them opossums and not just possums. You actually called them their real name, I guess.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, in the States.
Yeah, either. You only get them in the States, don't you?
Yeah. So, which is interesting that you said possums. I love opossums or possums. Okay, I'm looking up. I'm going through all the caterpillars and everything else. Walrus. Let's see if they're in here. Nope, not in this book. Let me look at the. Nope. Okay, so in this book. Sorry, I don't know them by rote. There's only so much information I can keep in this brain of mine. So I definitely don't know.
I've got mine. Well, because it's a Kindle version, I can kind of go straight to the animal. I'll give you some time.
I don't know what. Yeah, right. It's so cute. They're so funny. So my story with possums is, it was interesting. So when I lived in LA, I had a place that was kind of, it was city, but kind of out of the city. I was really lucky to live by a nature reserve in Griffith Park, which is kind of towards the Hollywood Hills. Griffith Park.
Okay.
Griffith Park, yeah. It's like the other side of the Hollywood Hills. And so it's a big natural, every time I'd go running there, I would see coyotes or rattlesnakes or deer or hawks or all kinds of stuff. It was awesome. I was constantly getting animal, muses coming to me. It was amazing. Yeah. So I lived in this area there was a little bit of wild happening not too far from me. And I had a really stunning cat at the time. And I remember my cat would come in. He was like this beautiful man cat. He would come in and he was like staring at my closet and like guarding. And I'm like, what are you doing, Frankie? And then I realized that there was a whole family of possums living in my closet.
What?
3 days that I didn't even know about because I was and so and so I rescued these 3 possums, and it was really funny. Yeah,
they made like a little nest in your clothes.
Yes, isn't that awful? Like I was working. This is when I worked in the industry. I was working on a movie, and I was like working 18 hours a day, and I was just like throwing the clothes on the chair and then picking them up, getting the dress going, and then the cat's like staring at the closet like, mother, look at the closet. I'm like, what? I look and it was at night, and I, turn on, I opened it, and I see these little eyes come out.
Oh, no.
There's freaking possums in my house. It was very exciting. Yeah, it was all very exciting. So this will resonate with both of us. So here we go. Let's see what the possum says. We can look up Ted Andrews and read the whole thing at another stage.
Okay.
Oh, interesting. Ooh. The keynote says the use of appearances and the cycle of power is in the spring. Let's see. Let's see. Opossum teaches us how to use appearances. Sometimes it is necessary to play dead. Sometimes it's necessary to put up a particular front to succeed most easily and effectively. It can also show you when others are putting up false perceptions. Oh, that is okay. I was just visited by a blue jay, mockingjay.
Oh,
a mockingjay. Yeah, just like came.
That means
they've been trying to get my attention all day, so I need to look up.
Yeah.
Blue jay. Yeah. So opossum can help us learn to divert attention or to get attention in the way we need.
Well, I certainly need attention.
Yeah, right? Everybody donate to her Kickstarter, like now. It's necessary for her to have appearances in your life via her artwork. Yes, Kickstarter. So that's interesting, right?
Using appearances.
So, okay, when a possum shows up, ask yourself some important questions. Okay, are you acting or about to act in an appropriate manner? Question.
In mine today, so should be all right.
Do you need to strengthen your own appearance? It's interesting we were talking about our hair. Are others putting up false appearances in front of you?
Perhaps.
You need to divert attention away from some activity. Are others trying to divert attention? Are others trying to divert your attention?
Okay.
Is it time to go into your bag of tricks and pull out a new strategy?
Maybe.
Learning to pretend and act in ways in which and with realism is the magic that possum teaches. Learning to pretend and act in ways and with realism is the magic that possum teaches.
Realism, does that mean like authenticity, maybe? Learning to act with realism, what does that mean?
Yeah, that's what we were talking about, about being our true selves, right? Being our true selves.
Yeah, and not kind of hiding, or
exactly.
in possum terms, not playing dead. the new strategies, I guess, you know, because it's Kickstarter, I've never done anything like it before. And it is kind of revealing, you know, because you have to communicate with people, you have to get them excited. So there is like the sense of kind of, you know, revealing myself in a way, which is interesting.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I'm trying new things as well, you know, to get out there. So that could have something to do with it as well.
Definitely.
Interesting. Yeah. And if it doesn't work out, I can just play dead.
That's right. That's right. That's what having a screen is, right? Yeah. That is interesting because we are all kind of creating and functioning and experiencing life in such a different way right now that everything is online, you know?
Yeah.
And literally I felt like for a couple times for my own sanity and my own kind of mental health to disengage from social media and to play dead. And I literally was playing dead for a week because I just couldn't, you know, anymore. I couldn't read the posts. I couldn't read all the stuff happening. I had to play dead on, you know, social media. So
yeah, I know exactly how that feels.
But my bag of tricks is ready. It's ready. Yeah.
Got tricks. Got my bag of tricks there.
Cool. So should we kind of wrap up the session, or do you want to kind of go? We could go on and on, but
it's already 5. Yeah. Okay. Well, that was really cool, and I think pretty relevant to what I'm going through now. So that was interesting. Quite nerve-wracking actually, because you know it can be so intimate, like these ink blots and what you see and what it could, you know, the symbolic meaning of the animals. So yeah, really cool. Thank you so much, Eden. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes. I'm always interested in going, you know, a little bit deeper and doing a bit more exploration into why we do what we do and who we are and why. And yeah, so it's always fascinating. And so I appreciate the concept of your animal in you, and yeah, stemming from the ink blot, the duality of it, to, you know, really coming full circle, literally circle with some of them, and creating such dynamic, amazing, personalized pieces that are so brilliant, you know, that you're kind of co-creating them with people, and that's just magic. It's really magic. It's amazing.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm really excited to collaborate with, you know, with people on their ink blots. And yeah, so we might have the opportunity, or people, or participants I should say, might have the opportunity to get their ink blots analyzed by you, or their interpretation of their ink blots analyzed by you, and you can dispel your wisdom and your animal archetype knowledge.
Yes,
so that would be quite interesting for people, and I know a lot of people would love that experience.
Thank you. I'm all about the curious mind. It's brilliant to be curious. Yeah,
Of course.
So, yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Eden.
Welcome. Thank you, Jessica.